don't say, born to play. Every day don't say. Hello.
Hello, I'm Lou Goldstein, hoping you're healthy, and welcome to another edition of Focus On. Tonight my guest is Pranjit Kalita, who is the founding consultant of Koyn, and we'll be talking a lot about Koyn in a little bit. But first I want to tell you a little bit about Pranjit's background. As I said before, not only as he's the founding consultant, but he has realized that that Koyn is a manifestation of his passion for current events, willingness to engage with others who have different viewpoints, expertise in computer science, and his entrepreneurial spirit developed from a young age. He graduated with his master's in computer science from Princeton University, and he became increasingly disheartened by the constant polarization and vitriol that accompanied the discussion of any topic on the traditional social media platforms. It seems to be that it's an all or nothing segue, and there has to be common ground to agree to disagree, and really that's one of the focuses of Koyn, and Pranjit will be talking about it. He, as I said before, after graduating from Princeton, he began working closely with Parth Sharda, who was a friend from his undergraduate studies when they both were at Purdue University, on a number of entrepreneurial ventures. He earned his BS in computer engineering from Purdue, and prior to launching Koyn in early 2022, the pair founded Berkoa Capital Management, which is a global macro hedge fund. Their work conducting deep research on trends across the globe provided the insight, strategy, forecasting, and performance success for building Koyn. With a laser-focused approach, their vision was crystallized, convincing them that it is the right platform now at the right time. They both intend to run and grow both companies concurrently, as there are related synergies between the two companies. So first of all, Pranjit, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a very busy guy, but thank you for making time out of your day to come on the show.
Of course, Lou. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and also congrats on the recent rebranding of the TV station to Central New Jersey Network.
It's a big thing. So Princeton Community TV is now known as Central New Jersey Network, and we're all very pleased that this opportunity, is here, and looking forward to the future as far as the network. And congrats go out to George McCullough, our executive director, who's also producing and directing the show, as well as the Board of Trustees, for working with the town and getting all matters resolved so that the station can move on and hopefully, provide some more educational and informative programs, in the months and years and decades ahead. So getting back to Koyn. Mm-hmm. So people are thinking, Koyn, what are you talking about, Koyn? Now I know a lot of times, especially recently, I found that there are a lot of families that broke up, there are friends that dissolved their friendships because it was an all or another conversation, sometimes, mostly political, about what they believed in and how they couldn't get involved with somebody because of their beliefs. There used to be a level of discourse where you could agree to disagree, and stay friends, stay within your own family, and not be so polarizing. But it seems like right now it's either an all or nothing. There's no gray area right now. It's all extremes. But let's talk about Koyn. And so basically, what is Koyn, and how'd you get the idea?
Absolutely. So just like you said, and that's a great pretext for this question. Koyn was formed as a response to the increasing polarization that we see in society, exacerbated by social media and some of the more conventional media sources, but social media, right. Definitely. So it's a one-of-a-kind platform, brand new, that anyone can download for free from App Store or Play Store. And what it does is that it allows you, and in fact even so much, you can even say forces you to converse with people who disagree with you on anything, right. Every single time you engage on the app. So what that means is that some of the examples that you mentioned, instead of being driven to one corner of the internet where you're being fed only one set of facts,
Right.
which eventually become mushroom into bigger problems in society, as we have seen lately. Here, you can at all times be connected with what the other side is saying, people who disagree with you, and for the most part, when you are exposed to the other side, people tend to think of them more as human beings rather than the enemy or demonizing them. So that's probably the reason why people never quarrel as much when they're face to face with one another, right?
Right.
But then they are ready to do that on the internet. But so that was the analogy that we thought we would build within the internet space. That when we would make coin, that people would at all times be forced to engage with the other side. That way they will be exposed to the nuances that the other side has, and so stop dehumanizing them in the process.
Yeah. So, what really led you to form Coin? I mean, you must have been sitting there one day, and maybe the two of you were talking about it, and when did the light bulb go off and say, you know what, we really need to do something about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the light bulb went off sometime in November 2029 in response to the increasing polarization that we saw coming,
Right.
Due to the election of 2020. As you mentioned in the introduction, my co-founder Parth and I have an investment management company, which is also a startup, but that is in the global macro realm. So that tries to understand how macroeconomics is driven by politics, plain and simple.
Right.
And while we were doing that analysis, we realized what was to come next in terms of increasing polarization, increasing discord in society, people moving to two different sides. And so in response to that, we thought we would do something about it. So that's when we came upon the idea for Coin.
Right.
Just so you know, we saw things like January 6th coming down the horizon, so we wanted to do something about it.
Okay. Now I know a lot of the audience would say, like, where does Coin fall, in the debate of tech platforms and the policing of free speech, and how does it really differ from other social media platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a very important question, and that's something that we have spent a lot of time thinking about, even while we were developing, or before we even developed the platform.
Right.
Some of the features within the platform are tailored based on how we approach this problem. So to answer your question shortly, we fall in the middle. We do not believe in draconian measures one way or the other. We do not believe that tech platforms should be the ones policing free speech. For example, we should not be the ones deciding who gets to talk and what not. But at the same time, there is a responsibility, maybe not as a media source like the New York Times would, but then there is a certain amount of responsibility to do everything in your power to make the platform as secure and safe for your users as possible. Towards that, what we do is we try to attack the problem in a three-pronged manner. Number one is during the very sign-up stage itself, we make sure that the people getting into the platform are real and unique, which means that there cannot be multiple accounts or there cannot be bots in the platform.
Right.
We do that by having a technical solution to the problem, which we think is a good approach towards eliminating the bots that we see on social media and the troll accounts that we see on social media, which I think is is almost half the battle, if you will.
Right.
Facebook spends a lot of its manual resources every day removing 50, 100,000 accounts troll accounts from its platforms, and we do not want to get to that stage. So right at this beginning, we are attacking the problem. The second problem is within the platform itself. People can do basic things like reporting content, blocking people. There is an ability to downvote and upvote people.
What does that mean?
That means that every time somebody engages on a coin, say comments something or posts something,
Right.
then they can be reviewed, if you will,
Okay.
by their peers. And while people from both your side and the other side can upvote you, only people from your side can downvote you. So what that means is that is an inherent mechanism to kind of keep track of who is completely, say, off, or who is acting in bad faith, or if somebody's doing nefarious. If you get more downvotes from people who are likely to agree with you, then that's a problem, and we would do something about that particular user if that keeps happening.
Okay.
So that is an element of what we call the self-policing aspect of the platform, that the user and Coin as a platform itself is responsible for keeping it safe, and we just get in whenever we are required to.
Okay.
And so that's where we are right now. In the future, as we scale and we have more resources, we would definitely love to automate a lot of the process, including sentiment analysis, understanding natural language and what people are trying to say, and automatically flag content. But that is not necessary either, because we really believe in giving people the ability to police the platform.
That's good. That's good. Now, you probably did some studying on this. Who do you think is most likely to be your target audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So our target audience is people in the middle. People we think are nuanced in general.
Okay.
People are not on the extreme. I think what happens in society is extreme people get a lot of attention, but majority of the people are not extreme.
Right.
A recent Gallup poll from February of last year actually showed that 62% of Americans felt that an independent party was needed.
Right.
Because obviously both sides are Democrat, Republican, are very extreme. You know, you cannot be nuanced. Somebody can be, say, pro-guns while being pro-right to choose, for example.
Right.
So our target audience is those people, which we think people in the middle, although people at the extremes are welcome to make a good faith effort.
Okay.
To engage.
Now, I know you've had quite the background of doing a lot of things, you know, Purdue and Princeton and your startup companies that you've started. But I do want to ask you, you know, everybody usually has somebody that was a role model to them. I like to ask all my guests this question about somebody who was a role model to you and made a difference in your life, you know, had some influence and served as somebody that, you know, you really appreciated, you know, what they had to say. So is there somebody that, or someone or people that served as a role model for you?
Yeah, definitely. My number one role model would be my father, who's an extremely bright man and very, very intelligent. So he's everything that you would expect from a role model, like a father figure.
Right.
And he would just do his thing without complaining, and so I try to incorporate those kinds of things as I make my way into the world. Whenever I face challenges, I just try to not make excuses and just get it done. So that's what I learned from my father, who was also highly accomplished. So there was a lot of big shoes to fill. And outside of my immediate people I know, I have been deeply influenced by the investor Ray Dalio. That is part of the reason I got interested in this field of understanding the connections between what people are thinking at the ground and how that has economic roots, and how to think about it in a systematic manner, so that you can always anticipate, based on what's happened in the past historical cycles, You can anticipate what might happen in the future. And being able to do that while I'm still at the beginning stages of my companies, being able to do that, say even for Coin, allows me and my co-founder to always anticipate what's to come next and hence prepare the product and the features accordingly to meet what's coming. That's why we formed Coin, and we think we are likely to keep doing well in this regard if we are able to anticipate things.
Talking about anticipating things, what do you think are some of the technical challenges that you've had to grapple with while creating Coin, and what challenges do you anticipate going forward?
That's a good question. A lot of Coin's challenges were trying to find a technical solution to a human problem. For example, security and safety of the platform. That's a big problem, right? Like everybody talks about it on Facebook and Twitter. Like we can, there could be a different show just dedicated to that topic itself. So to find a solution in which people feel secure about the platform and people feel like, oh, they are not talking to a bunch of trolls or bots or Russian agents, if you will. That required understanding at the human level how people perceive things, and then trying to find a technical solution while working within our constraints.
Right.
So we try to have and execute a solution like that, which allows us, we think, in the sign-up stage itself, to remove bots and multiple accounts, and so that was one of the technical challenges we faced. Another one was with regards to finding the line between allowing people, giving people the leeway to speak their mind while not going overboard and saying some problematic things. So we have a feature, for example, called anonymity, which means that the user can just be anonymous whenever they feel like it on the platform. But at the same time, they are verified. Like I said, right from the sign-up stage, they are all real people and they are not duplicates, right?
Right.
So finding that middle lane was another such example where we had to merge humanities with technology. So that was another example. And then in the future, we think that there is a lot to be said about applying machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities within a platform like Coin, where people can get proper recommendations. We can flag inappropriate content much quicker and much better, and with larger accuracy, and so on and so forth. So those are kind of the things that we would like to be working towards in the future. Finally, I think that we have spent a lot of time trying to make sure that Coin is not just a political platform, but a platform that people can use to do interesting things outside of just politics, like
Right.
sports or local businesses. So that's why we have a thing called local coins, and which you can basically hyper localize the context, and we built that to make sure that people felt a sense of community. So those were the kinds of challenges that we dealt with, both from a product as well as technology standpoint.
Well, I think a lot of people today, are worn down by the extreme conversations, and the extreme conversations, unfortunately, get most of the publicity, right?
Yes.
Because it just seems to be something that newspapers or magazines or people will buy. People will draw attention to,
Yes.
right? And they'll say, "Oh, did you hear about this crazy thing that's happening right now?" Or somebody's crazy opinion, right?
Right. And
I say crazy in the loose sense of the word, because it could be a very real system, but a lot of times, I was a journalist. I first started out as a journalist, And back then, if you didn't have 3 reliable sources to confirm your story, you weren't allowed to publish it. Now anything and everything goes on. Social media, there's no confirmation. People are just throwing things out of facts that aren't facts. And, people are entitled to their opinion, but they're not entitled to their facts.
Yes.
Right? So I think, given that, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I want to make sure this is clear to everybody. How does Coin plan to keep out the nastiness, some of the nastiness and the misinformation that seems to be spreading in certain social media circles?
Yeah, and that was the biggest question while we were developing this platform.
Right.
So, as mentioned earlier, we try to take a 3-pronged approach. The first one is at the sign-up stage itself. We think we only allow real users, not bots. That
Right.
means they have to verify using a working phone number.
Correct.
And we also ensure that they are not duplicates. So the way we do that is by asking people to take a photo of their face, but that, to be very clear, we do not store that picture. That picture is not stored anywhere. It's deleted. We only use that photo to check real quickly using a machine learning
Right.
algorithm whether or not that face has been used before. That's it.
Right.
If the answer is no, then the user gets an ID, a face ID.
Yeah.
That ID cannot be reverse engineered to recreate the face. The whole idea is that each face ID is unique to each individual face.
Right.
So once we verify that, we can eliminate a lot of the problems. Like I said, half the battle, I think, is trolls and bots. So our real and verified and unique user situation leads us to think that we can do something about attacking this problem of false misinformation, fake news, so on and so forth.
Right.
But once within the platform, we allow people to block people if they are saying inappropriate things and report content.
Mhm.
And based on how many report violations or blockings one person receives, we might take action on a case-by-case basis against that user. But we also believe in self-policing aspect, which is why we
Right.
allow people the right to kind of downvote users or
Right.
and going forward, we would like to maintain some sort of a leaderboard, which means that, say, if you are writing good stuff, you
Right.
get receiving a lot of upvotes from the other side, then we might kind of advertise you as one of the spokespeople, if you will, for this topic. So we want
Right.
to gamify that experience while attacking this problem. So these are the 2-pronged approaches right now that the system already has.
Right.
And in the future, we would like to invest more towards AI and natural language processing so that we can flag contents more automatically.
I asked that question. I know we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but I asked it in case people had just joined us
Yeah.
in the middle of the program, and also to get clarity.
It's the most important question.
It really is. My question, though, is do you think people really want to find common ground with people that they disagree with?
Yeah. So, like as I mentioned during the stat earlier, with Gallup, they do, and most people are nuanced out there in the world. Most people are not people who watching these crazy websites and getting inspired to do weird things. So yes, I really believe that people want to find common ground. We also did our own polling before we even started working on making coin, in which we talked to people, different demographics all over the country. And then we saw that by an overwhelming number, people said that there is a need to listen to the other side, to make sure that people hear both sides of a topic, not both sides of a fact, like you said, facts are facts, but both sides of a topic, so that this demonization that happens when you're within your own bubble and echo chamber, that just is no longer there, and that can only happen if you bring people together.
Right.
That's plain and simple, and Coin attempts to do just that.
So before we end our program today, maybe you can just talk a little bit about what the plan is to increase awareness, of Coin among prospective users, and your long-term vision. Where do you see it going in the years ahead?
Sure. So in terms of Publicizing Coin, we just launched about a month ago. End of last year, December 30th, was when we released publicly. Right now, what we're engaged on is speaking to media sources like yourself to get the word out. We are trying to do that. We're speaking with a couple of influencer partners of ours who are looking to use Coin within their context. Say very specifically within the context of teaching poker, for example. We're also working with a couple of political organizations, private schools, and university campuses to find a use case of Coin within the classroom, within the context of their volunteer organizations, spreading the word around. So we're trying to get users like that by speaking to people on the ground. And finally, we also have our social media handles. People, if they're interested, they can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under the handle Koyn the App. That's KOYNTHEAPP. And they can we post content pretty regularly, and finally we are available on the App Store and the Play Store, and you can find us using Coin the Opinion Network.
That's great.
And in terms of the vision, before I forget, my simple vision is to break the back of polarization in society. Plain and simple. Like as you know, and as we attribute it to this echo chambers and these vacuums, information vacuums that exist in corners of the internet is the biggest problem that has mushroomed into a lot of political, cultural, and social issues of our time. And so that is one of the biggest challenges facing us as mankind, and I would like to think that Coin can do something about it by breaking the back of polarization in society.
Well, I wish you well, and I know it just started up, but I'm sure it's going to take off. And so Pranjit Kalita, thanks so much for coming on the show today. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Coin, go check it out, KOYN, Coin the App, and hopefully you'll be dialoguing through it and using it as a positive source of communications with those who agree with you and those who disagree. But overall, hopefully you'll still all be friends in the long run. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks.
And look forward to hearing good things in the future.
Of course. Thanks, Lou. I look forward to coming back in the future, maybe.
That's great. That's great. Well, that's our show for tonight. Stay healthy, stay active, stay focused, and I'll see you next week on another edition of Focus On.